going back to kind of how it was, how it first came about. Presumably, Bill, you were obviously first to see it because Barry came later into the fold. Can you remember who pitched you the concept and how you felt when you first saw the creative for Demolition, so the presentation of it?
Oh, it was Randy Colley. It was Randy that approached me.
Right.
And he said that he had this concept and he had some ideas, and some of them were good. Some of them we had to tweak. Some of them were bad, and we eliminated. And then we proposed it to Vince. He had already talked to Vince about it, and Vince liked the concept. And then we had our first 2 matches. And unfortunately for Randy, who was the original Smash at that time, when he took off the entrance ring mask, everybody in the building both times recognized him. They liked the characters, they liked the outfits and the appearance, but they knew who he was right away. So after the second day, I had already made plans to go to Japan. So after the second day, we got back in the locker room, and I told him, I said, this character is going to work. This gimmick is going to work, but it's not going to work with you, Randy. And since you came up with the basic idea, I'll step aside because I'm going to Japan anyway. And he said, no, you're absolutely right. It's not going to work with me. And then I had told Vince how I felt, and he agreed. And that's when we came up with the idea of finding a replacement for Randy. And at that time, he suggested there was about 4 people that he gave me names of. They were already in the territory or had just left. And I told him, I said, it's not going to work. It's going to be the same thing. They're going to, as soon as they take off the exterior mask, they're going to recognize him.
Yep.
And he agreed. And then I went to Japan, and then that's when he met up with Barry. So Barry can take it from there.
Yeah. So that was right when, I was partners with Ivan and Nikita Koloff, and I had a falling out with those guys. And I actually quit wrestling. I thought, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go to Japan or, go to another territory or whatever. And that's when Earl Hebner came up to me and he said, Barry, he says, hey, should I call my brother? His brother was a referee up there with Vince. Should I have him talk to Vince for you? And I told him, I said, yeah, for sure, not thinking anything was going to happen. And then I was in Ricky Steamboat's gym. And Ricky says, yeah, I heard about the falling out you had with Crockett and all that stuff. And he says, you want me to call Vince for you? And I said, shoot, yeah. Well, Ricky says, well, hold on. So Ricky went behind the counter and he called Vince right there. And he says, yeah, I just talked to Vince. He's going to give you a call. So it was actually about 2 days later, the phone rings and it's Vince. And Vince told me that he talked to Ricky and talked to Hebner, and he invited me up there. And then when we sat down and talked, they had this idea and they didn't really tell me what it was. And then when I told them I was, really wanting a job up there, then they mentioned this and showed me some pictures of what the character was going to look like. And Vince says, how would you like to do it? I said, count me in. I'm for sure. And he says, well, Bill Eadie would be the one that would be your partner, and I have to check with him first. And if he likes you and thinks you're going to be a good partner, then you'll have a job being the Demolition. If not, we'll find something else for you. So that's kind of how I came in the mix of things at that time.
And you first meet, and did you just click straight away?
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, we did. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, it was, right away, we knew all the same people. We became friends right away. When we got in the ring, after the first match, it was just like everything just worked. I wasn't, somebody that needed to win all the time. Bill wasn't like that. It didn't matter if I sold or he sold or whatever. It was just a really good team right from the very beginning.